Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Say, when is D-Day? Every day when you're a stutterer. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at D-Day Solitaire, Omaha Beach from Worthington Publishing. In D-Day Solitaire, Omaha Beach from Worthington Publishing, the player can take on the role of either the American Army or the German Army during that fateful battle in Normandy in 1944. Now, if you've played other book war games from Worthington, you kind of know what to expect here. Essentially, what you're doing is you'll have to get a pencil, you'll have to get a die, a six-sided die. Now, if you're playing the Americans, you take on the role of Leonard Giraud, the 5th Corps commander, as he commands the 1st and 29th Infantry Divisions here at Omaha Beach. And what you do is you have 18 turns to try to take the beach. Now, if you're playing with the Germans, you are trying to defend the beaches from the attack. You've got static positions that you are attempting to use in order to knock the guys off the beach, but off the bluffs as well. Now, in each scenario, the game board has spaces for American units on the beach, bluffs that the American units can advance to, and the Germans have kind of static defenses just above the beaches, and they also have towns behind them. And the various arrows show where units can advance and where they can attack. Now, looking at the Americans, what you do every turn is you can select the different kind of action locations. And when you do that, you're going to write the number of the round you're playing in a box, and there's a limited number of boxes for each of the activations of these units. But you write that number down, but you don't resolve it immediately. Instead, you roll a die to see what the Germans are going to do, and see if the Germans attack you somewhere, if they bring in reinforcements, or if they get kind of a tactical response, including snipers and other nasty surprises. After you've resolved what the Germans are going to do, you go ahead and you can advance the Americans with that action. So you can attack some of the static beach defenses, you can move into the bluffs, you can attack the towns, you can call in for a naval bombardment. And if you've actually done all of the actions in one of your units, you can actually go to General Cody, who will give you additional abilities. You can write in spaces beneath him to do that action again, and you also get a die modifier that will help you in that space. Now, during attacks, again, you're rolling a die, and if the Germans are attacking you, or if you're attacking the Germans, it's the same die. And depending on what you roll is going to determine who takes casualties and how many casualties. Now, for Americans, you want to roll high. If you can roll a 6, you can take out 2 German units. If you roll a 1, you're going to lose 2 units. And in the middle, you may lose or take 1, or you both may lose and take 1 at the same time. Now, as the Americans, in order to win, you have to eliminate all of the static defenses on the beach, and you have to destroy all of the German units in at least 2 of the 3 towns. Now, for the Germans, it's everything just in reverse. Instead of rolling for a German response, of course, you roll for an American response. Instead of naval bombardment, you got the Nebelwerfer rocket artillery. Instead of General Cody, you've got Colonel Gotha, who gives you that same ability to roll there. So you are doing the same thing, but from the other perspective. Now, there is another thing you can do for both the Americans and the Germans, and that is you can attempt to flank. If you have units that are on both sides, in different sectors on both sides of, a town or some of the static defenses, you can declare one unit is your primary unit, and then you can declare by writing an F in the secondary unit that you are flanking, and that will give you a positive die roll modifier for you to help you in that action. Now, in order for the Germans to win, you have to destroy all American units in 3 of the 4 bluff locations. So, whichever side you're playing, if you can meet your victory objectives, then you win! D-Day Solitaire, Omaha Beach. We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review. Okay, so as I say, this is very similar to a lot of the other book war games that we've seen from Worthington Publishing. Waterloo Solitaire, which they eventually came out with a deluxe edition, but Gettysburg Solitaire. Like I said, they're very similar games, and you're, of course, using a pencil to kind of fill in when you get units in certain locations. You're putting an X on them to cross out when they're killed, or just a simple slash to show when they move. So there's a lot of the same mechanics here we see in some of these other games, and that's great because I always have fun with these. I'm amazed for as much luck as there is, and there's a lot of die roll and there's a lot of luck, and for as kind of physically small as the game is, just what big and fun stories you can get out of this game. You know, you're playing as the Germans, you're playing as the Americans, you're desperately trying to get off the beach and get to the bluffs. When you're on the beach, you've got negative die roll modifiers when you're attacking the static defenses. You can't easily do it, but when you get into the bluffs, you can kind of meet them on even terms. And the same thing with the Germans. When you're attacking from those static defenses at the beach, you've got some. I think it's like a -2 to your rolls, right? Which is really good for you. But you lose that when they get up into the bluffs. So it's kind of an interesting thing, and it's fun to see the game, the map evolve. You know, see where you're making your marks and seeing how it all changes up. And again, it tells a great story as these units are moving throughout the board, as they are attacking, as you're attacking them. You're dreading every round rolling for the enemy because you just don't know what's going to happen. And sometimes you get fortunate, and for whatever reasons, it can't fulfill the conditions there, in which case nothing happens, and you're hoping for stuff like that. But they come few and far between, and frequently you're going to take some damage or risk. But then sometimes things can work out for you too. For instance, the Germans may attack you if you're the Americans in a certain spot, but their die roll goes bad and they lose, 1 or 2 units. That's war. Von Clausewitz tells us war is the realm of chance. But it's fun, and it's a great way to just sit down, play a quick solitaire game. Half an hour. They don't last more than that. Sometimes they're much shorter. But they're always fun. I'm always invested in these games. Like I say, I love the stories they tell. It's fun too because last summer I was actually in France and we visited Normandy, and we kind of spent a lot of time at Utah Beach, and we weren't even scheduled to visit Omaha Beach at all. But because of the day of the week, another event they had it was Sunday, and so they weren't doing it. So what they did was we at least drove along Omaha Beach. So we got to see the length of Omaha Beach, which was just amazing and really cool. I really like that quite a bit. Fun game, as they all are. On the Cody scale, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. If you like fun, quick, solitaire games that are pretty chancy but still tell great stories and are a lot of fun, and you like this World War II theme, I think you should check this one out. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we'd ask you to please go ahead and leave a comment for us here on this video on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on Facebook, on Twitter. We would ask you to please like this video and please subscribe to our channel. That means a lot. Please also give a thumb to this video on Board Game Geek. Now, if you do like this channel, I would urge you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, military history, books on history. I post some of my lectures on there, so please subscribe to that channel as well. It would mean the world to me. Now, also, too, if you do like what you see here, please consider clicking on the Super Thanks button and leaving a tip. How did the Allies have time to prepare for D-Day? Because Russia was Stalin.